This is Slam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Bojarinoff and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Slam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Bojarinoff. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98. Wait, Paul. That's Russian98. RUSSIAN 9898. And Paul?
That was really confusing. At Zwambag, ZWAMBAG, my last name. Simple, easy.
Yeah, I just had to do that because I like Paul always spells out his last name, so might as well spell out my Twitter.
I'm just used to it. I spell out my last name for everybody.
Yeah, usually when I do my last name, it's always BOJARINOV.
Oh, that's really
and
fast.
That's V, like Victor. Because a lot of people, when they say V, they think it's E or it's U or something. I don't know why. But anyways, let's get into it. Playoffs has begun. So we'll talk about that later in the episode. First off, again, if you haven't been there, go to our website, jablamhockey.com. And if you're following us here on the podcast on iTunes, please resubscribe to us, rate and review us if you can. What do we have this episode? Well, we're team isolating. We've got a few more to do still. So we're going to team iso in this episode the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, the Los Angeles Kings. We are also doing our final team report cards. Paul's Penguins, my Leafs, if there's anybody to report on in there. And, of course, we'll get into playoffs, our playoff roundup. We're going to be talking about our favorite series so far, and we've got a few of the same of surprising teams and players so far. All right, first, trending now. Braden Shen wants to lay a licking on Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, he's got to get him back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when he flipped him right over into the boards.
Yeah, NHL 94 style.
But, of course, in Game 1, Ovechkin had 4 hits, and one of them was the big hit, and it was a good, clean, beautiful hit on Couturier, and that took out the guy that covers Ovechkin pretty much. So that was a good hit and a good person to hit on. And, again, he had 7 hits in Game 2. So not only is he an offensive threat, he knows he needs to be a physical threat because he might not be able to score every game.
You just said that Ovechkin is a good guy, or is going to hit on Couturier. That's awesome. Sorry. Totally missed what you said because I was thinking about Ovechkin hitting on Couturier.
While we're doing this episode, we're also being lost in the Lightning and Red Wings game as we were recording. So we might even talk a little bit about that while we're doing this. But yes, that's huge. Ovechkin is a threat in many different areas.
Yeah.
And now they want to get back at him, and, well, they got to. They got to do something, the Flyers, or they're going to lose in 4 straight.
Yeah, which I really hope they don't. I think going back to Philly, they got to take both games in Philly.
You had Flyers to do the upset. I had Flyers, again, if they weren't playing the Capitals, I had the Flyers to beat somebody in the first round. But they're playing the Capitals, and I knew they can't beat the Capitals. But they're such a good playoff team. They got to win at least one in this series, and you're going to expect that one to be within the next 2 games, especially at home, and especially after the loss of Ed Snyder.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I'm not going to talk about it. I was going to talk a little bit about just throwing it out there. Boudreau likes Gibson. He's not going to change it up. He's going to go with him again. And as well, it looks like we're going to be talking about the Ducks in a bit, but it looks like Bieksa is back in the lineup. They need that veteran presence, and Manson is out with that injury. Let's go straight to it. Phil Kessel's office. They mentioned, who mentioned about Phil Kessel's office?
I don't know who's covering the game. I don't know who it was. Pierre Maguire, maybe?
No, I don't think it was Pierre Maguire.
NBC on Saturday?
I can't remember. But they're saying he's shooting from Phil Kessel's office, and you didn't like that comment.
No. Phil Kessel doesn't have an office. Wayne Gretzky has an office. Alex Ovechkin has an office. Phil Kessel doesn't have an office.
So, where's Steven Stamkos' office?
Higher off of the...
Yeah, a little further behind.
That same one-time spot as Ovechkin.
His cubicle is right next to Ovechkin's cubicle.
Yeah, pretty much. They're cubicle buddies.
Yeah. I think that Kessel freelances at the offices of Ovechkin, and uses his office once in a while. So technically it is still his office if he uses it once in a while, but he's sharing Ovechkin's office, right? And then what were you saying were Kessel's favorite places?
When he's not in the office.
Yeah.
When he's out of office is off the rush, just above the circle on the right side.
When he's flying off the highway.
Goalie's left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So goalie's left side.
So that's when it's off the rush. That's his out of office.
Yeah.
Office.
But I don't think he has an office. He doesn't work. He doesn't work in an office. He works on the road.
We will talk about this more in next episode. Who else has an office?
I think we should do it in the off season and make a whole
Off season of offices.
Yeah.
We're just going to restructure all our offices.
Yeah. So we can go more in depth, so we don't have to worry about talking about playoffs. Let's do it in the off season.
We'll do that in the off season.
A lot of research going into this one.
Offices. We should make a diagram.
We're going to. Yep.
Of the whole ice surface.
Yep.
Duncan Keith's office, and of course the goaltenders all have the office. Other than Martin Brodeur's office is pretty much half of the defensive zone when he's carrying the puck.
Both corners. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the office that's already covered in with the lines in the corner.
Yeah. Trapezoid.
Right. So, Mason's goal, or not so Mason's goal, but the goal scored by Jason Chimera.
Yeah.
Deflection right through his legs. Is that the worst goal ever?
I think, without going into timing-wise of when it was in the series and stuff like that, yes, it was the worst goal ever.
I'm just looking at the highlights of the game. Abdelkader is amazing with that friggin' scrum fight. Yes, it's the worst. People are saying Tosca this and Brodeur this and that. Those were bouncers.
Yeah. Weird
deflections off Brodeur's stick that was lying on the ice. Tosca, the bouncing, twisting puck.
Yeah.
This was straight in and slow. It wasn't a Nick Lidstrom shot hard from center ice. It was a slow shot that went right through him.
A Timbit hockey goalie could stop that puck.
And the worst thing is he was making so many amazing saves.
Oh, the save right before on John Carlson,
that was amazing.
Save. Unreal.
And then a few minutes later, he still made another amazing save, so it didn't really faze him. Which was pretty good to see.
What was awesome, the timing of it, because the broadcasters were just talking about Philadelphia being really good in the first period and having a great first period, and they're playing really good hockey, and Mason's making unbelievable saves, and then it goes in, and they're like, whoa, what just happened? So funny.
That's a stunner.
Yeah.
And that's going to lose you a game.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And it pretty much took them out of the game once that happened.
You could just see all the Flyers that were on the ice. They had their hands over their head like, are you kidding me? Like, how do you let that in? But you got to feel for Mason. He definitely feels dumb for letting it go in, and hopefully it doesn't shatter his confidence. And
you know what? And it didn't, though. He made some really good saves after as well.
Yeah.
So,
but it's probably still in the back of his head.
Yeah, especially for the next game.
Yeah.
All right. Wings, looks like they're going to win this game right now. Mrazek. They turned to Mrazek after 2 games. Why? In my opinion, I don't know. Was Mrazek that bad down the stretch that they had to go with Howard for 1 and 2?
Well, Mrazek kind of got hurt, I think, and then Howard played really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Mrazek, he kind of fell off. He was in the conversation for a Vezina candidate.
Yes. Like with a month to go in the season.
Yeah, like January, February, I think we were talking about it. And then he kind of fell off and his numbers fell off. But I think that was Detroit's whole team fell off. Yeah. But this is the first of the tandem goalies switching it up. So I think they had to at 2-0. Even if Howard was playing well, I think just a momentum change. Guys feel bad that Howard no longer is their netminder. Like they feel bad that it's their fault. Like all the players out there.
But Mrazek has been solid all season until last month, and he was pretty good even last year.
Yeah.
So
I think it'll be. I'm hoping it's a series changer.
I think Howard wasn't even that good in the first 2 series. Quick and Howard, I don't know what they were doing, but they seemed to overplay the puck in those first 2 games.
Yeah.
Both goalies, Quick and Howard, out of all the goalies in the playoffs, have really been overplaying the puck and haven't put themselves in a good opportunity to cover up on a rebound, off a deflection, off the boards. And that's hurt Detroit, and that's hurt the Kings as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully Mrazek in the lineup is a good thing, and I think it will be. Hopefully he can pull out a game or 2 at least against Lightning. But again, I'll talk about them later on. I really do enjoy this series. And last but not least, on trending now, we're going to talk about is the Roussel goal. Wow. Was that one of the strangest goals you've ever seen? It has to be at least for this season.
Yeah. He meant to kick it in.
He meant to kick it in, didn't he?
Yeah.
From behind the net, a puck randomly going at his foot, and he kicks it and goes directly over off Dubnyk, trickling in as he nudges the post upwards.
Yep. Gord Miller was really worried about that, that he had that much influence on.
He meant to kick it in.
Yeah.
Dubnyk said after the game, "It's not worth it. The fine for saying how I feel. The puck is kicked in, and somehow they have enough to overturn the ref's call. It's mind-blowing that that's the outcome of that play."
It wasn't a kick. Like, it was a redirect.
Yeah, it's not a kick toward the net at all.
No, there's no kicking motion.
No kicking motion, and you'd think he perfectly kicked it to go right over and off the goalie and in? Sign him to a freaking MLS contract right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow. But again, I was shocked. I don't mind on those plays by calling a safe call and calling it a delay of game penalty on Dubnyk for pushing the net off if you're not sure if the puck is going in or not. I don't know. You like the call ball?
I think it was a good goal. The posts were still on the ice. That's the key. They can bend and they can twist the poles that the nets sit on. They just have to be touching the ice, and they still were. So
yeah,
I think it was a good goal.
It was close. It was close.
Did you see what Ryan Carter said to the media about Antoine Roussel being a good agitator? The media asked him, and he said, "Oh, he's not a good agitator. The thing we don't like about him is that he works so hard. Like he doesn't agitate whatsoever. It's just he's hardworking, which is kind of weird."
That is weird. Roussel, I would see as a big
something.
I figured he'd be AH kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Not one of my favorites, but Paul, you've got him in my hockey pool, right, as your enforcer?
I sure do. Need some penalty minutes.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our first team ISO. We're going to team ISO the Anaheim Ducks. Well, you know what, Paul? Like I said at the beginning of the year, I have a strong feeling Ducks are going to win the Cup this year, and I'm still going with that. Even when they were in that slump and they were at the bottom of the league in December, I had faith for the Ducks to come back and still be a top 3 team. They still ended up winning the division. Amazing. Getzlaf didn't even have a goal in so many games. He had like 1 or 2 in like more than half the season.
Yeah, his first goal was November 16th, and it was an empty net goal. His first goal to beat a goaltender was December 27th.
Wow. But he turned it around. Even Perry had like 1 goal in the first month or something.
Yeah.
Kessler had like 1 goal in the first month.
They did
Especially those 3. Their main top 3 forwards struggling.
I think that's what their big problem was. They just couldn't put the puck in the net because they weren't getting blown out like 6-0 or 6-1. It was like 2-1 games, 3-2 games, 1-0 games.
So they're back. They're solid. They're all playing a good team game. But the same goes for this series. They're down. I still have faith in these guys to easily pull out the series. They'll find ways to win.
Oh, yeah.
But the only question mark, in my opinion, is a little bit the defense. They have a good defense, but how good are they? The Preds' defense is solid.
Oh, yeah.
How far can they go with this young core? How old are they? They're all 24 or younger.
Yeah.
Vatanen, Lindholm, Fowler, Manson's now out. Dupre, Theodore, 24 younger. This is crazy. This is the youngest back end, obviously, in like the whole league, and for sure in like the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Looks like BX is going to be playing tonight. But how many games has even Shea Theodore even played in the NHL? Like 20?
Yeah.
20 games.
Yeah.
And he's playing in the NHL fairly big minutes.
But he looks good.
He looked
he's
all
playing
right.
well.
He
Yeah.
made a few mistakes.
Yeah.
What do you expect from a guy that's only played 20 games?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my question mark now with these guys. Is this young defense? You don't have them going far, right?
I got him going to the Western Conference Finals.
So that's still pretty far.
Yeah, to go to play the Stars. So
I still picked them, but yeah, I never looked at how young these kids were, but they're very good.
oh, their power play is gonna carry their team. Like, if you take penalties against the Ducks, you're gonna lose the game because their power play is so good right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, like I said, I have them going all the way, so we'll see how it goes. But I think that could be a bit of the question mark. Hopefully, Bieksa brings that more physical presence that they don't really have from anybody
Yeah.
on that back end.
Yeah.
They're all two-way type defensemen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you have for prospects?
Just a couple of guys. Shade Theodore is one of the guys that
Yep.
is really going to step up next year. Brandon Montour, another defenseman, he made the AHL All-Rookie team as well as the first All-Star team. 21 years old. He's leading the league in power play scoring. So another guy that can play the power play. They got just a fruition of guys that can move the puck well. So a couple forwards. Nick Ritchie, kind of seeing some time. I think he got called up for this game tonight, Sunday night. First round, 10th pick in 2014. So he's going to be a pretty decent player. Kevin Roy had a really good year. 2012 pick, 4th round, 97th. They don't really have a goalie, obviously, because Gibson's their young prospect goalie that is now an NHL goalie. So they don't really have a goalie in their system that is very exciting. Kudobin's kind of playing their AHL, so not a lot of prospects, but that's kind of given when the teams are at the top. We're team icing the last 3-4 top teams, and they've been the top teams for how many years? So
Yep.
that's what happens when you just you draft guys and you don't need to bring anybody up because you got a solid team. So
And then you got to trade a few to get those veterans filling
yeah,
those roster
yeah.
spots
These
for
teams
the
are
playoffs.
all these teams are they're buyers at the deadline, so they just get rid of their draft picks, they get rid of their prospects.
You know what really bothers me is I'm looking at everything online and figuring out who's injured and going into the playoffs and everything. I knew Bieksa might not play, but in my head I wanted Perron, and everybody was saying, "Oh, he's not going to play for a week or whatever." But he showed up to game one and he was pretty good. He didn't look that much out of it.
Yeah, he really changed his game leaving Pittsburgh, so he's fit on that Ducks roster.
Great addition, and I also like we all like the Silverbergs of the team and the other guys, but I really also like McGinn so far. His game playing with the Ducks so far.
Yeah, they picked up a lot of decent depth guys at the trade deadline.
Yep. All right, let's move on. We're going to be team isoing in a bit, the Los Angeles Kings as well. But let's do our final team report cards. We're only going to name a few, but we will post the final report cards on our Facebook group. Check it out, Jablam Hockey on Facebook. I'll go first. A few guys, we're not going to get into it, but we're going to post them all on Facebook. So we're only going to mention a couple guys. Number one, I'm going to go right with Brad Boyce. He's been in the lineup pretty much all season. Abysmal. Used to be a 30-goal scorer, and he has really fallen off. He's gotten chance after chance with this depleted Maple Leafs lineup. So many injuries, going through the rebuild. He's getting the chances. He's not earning it. He's playing on third or fourth line because he doesn't deserve to move up. He had a few games on like the second line, but abysmal. He played a little bit better in the second half. Again, that's after they've, had the trade deadline. A lot of guys left, and he was a little bit better, but still top 10 on a depleted lineup like that. That's not good. It isn't saying much. So he'll be a free agent this summer if anybody wants him.
I don't think he's going to get signed anywhere.
Yeah. A guy I like to talk about is Michael Grabner. He has potential with that speed. He's getting chance after chance to score, but he just cannot finish. A lot of fans don't like him because he doesn't score, but he's getting those chances because he's one of the fastest guys in the NHL. But he can't finish. He needs a guy that's almost as fast as him or similar to play off of that can finish. And if you do that with Grabner, maybe he'll get more points. But again, he's solid on the PK. A guy I've liked all season is P.A. Parento. I feel bad that the Leafs couldn't recoup something at the trade deadline for him because he's been solid, especially on the power play. He's been really good. I give him a B because he's been good. And he was day-to-day at the trade deadline, so that's probably why they didn't get to move him. But in a very subdued season, surprising offense from a guy like P.A. Reilly's been great, another steady year, and he's improved, and he's pretty much the best defenseman on a weak defensive club. And for the newer guys, I'm going to go a little bit into it. We didn't get to see a lot of them, but we still got to see about 20 games from Willie Nylander. I'm going to give him a B. He looked pretty good out there in his first 20 NHL games. Some great games and some maybe not so great games, but it's a learning process. He's working pretty well through it, I'd say, especially for the beginning.
Yeah.
And I hope fans out there can check some HL hockey, especially those Marlies. These guys are in there now, so go check them out.
Speaking of Marlies,
go ahead.
I looked at the roster the other day because I was like, oh yeah, they're going to be a solid team and they're top of the AHL.
Go ahead.
Right now, their roster has 27 forwards, 16 defensemen, and 4 goalies. They pretty much have 2 teams.
Yeah, you can go that deep in the NHL as well, eh? Just like the NHL does in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't know if their ECHL team is any good. I don't go that deep, so. But having almost 2 full, they could play each other in a scrimmage, a full scrimmage, 25 guys. It's wild.
Yeah.
In their last game, they had all their young guys playing Wilkes-Barre this afternoon. They looked pretty good. So
I think last time I checked, it was 3-2 with a few minutes left.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they were leading 3-2. So hopefully, and a guy I like to talk about, like the few guys I didn't want to get into all the younger guys because they played less than 20 games. But the guys they added at the trade deadline, I'm surprised with a few of them. Corrado's played all season, not all season. He was with the club all season, but started playing more in the second half. He didn't look that out of place. He was alright. But and Leitch seemed like a good leader. But the guy I really want to talk about is Colin Greening. I didn't think much at all about Colin Greening, but when he came, I was surprised. Hard work ethic, and he was putting the puck into the back of the net. He's playing well. I hope it's not just a flash in the pan for down the stretch. I hope he can continue that, especially because I think they still have him for 2 more years. So I hope he can supply that veteran presence with Brooks Leitch and put the puck in there a couple of times. That'd be great. Good for Leafs depth. All right, Paul.
All right,
your team.
I'm just going to go over a couple because I want people to go to the Facebook page and see
the rest, the
full report card. That's what we're trying to aim for. So obviously, got to go with Sidney Crosby. Started with a C-, moved him to a B as the season went on. I remember when we said he was a C-, and it was like, he could be even worse than a C-.
Yeah.
Like, his expectations are so high that...
And that's what it is. We know what Sid can do.
Yeah.
Sid, we're going to say, oh, he's a B because he's Sid. But technically, he's an A++.
Yeah.
You know.
So, he finished the season with an A. Because since January 1st, he's got 58 points in 44 games, which is 1.32 points per game. What's his career number? 1.32 points per game. So he finished as career numbers from January 1st to April 10th.
Yeah, okay.
So he's back to career, he's back to his average. So
perfect. That means he's doing exactly what he needs to do.
And he just had an awful beginning of the year because he finished with 85 points. He finished with 85 points. Last year, Jamie Benn won with 87.
Yep.
The scoring title, so...
Where was he total? In the...
Second or third, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
Who else you got?
Patrick Hornqvist had a great January, February. Slowed down again in March, but finished with 51 this season. 2 points off his career high.
Wow.
Which I thought he had a 60-point season, but he did not. So B for him. He was CC, and now he's B. Straight to the goalies. Our goalies have been A+, both of them, Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury. Murray finished with 9 wins in 13 games, filling in spot starts when Fleury was out with his 2 concussions this year.
Mm-hmm.
He finished his season 7 straight starts, 7 straight wins.
Man, it would have been nice to see him play these few games.
Why did they play him against Philadelphia the last game?
It's rough.
Why? It's such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. They know Flyers can get dirty. I don't think it was a dirty play. I don't think they were headhunting him, but why? You knew Fleury was hurt. Why put in the guy that
is your future?
Is your future? Yeah. Like he was. There were a lot of teams calling his name for at the trade deadline to be their starter. Yeah. So A+ for Matt Murray. I really hope they share time, Fleury and Murray next year. The Fleury-Murray combo. And Fleury gets an A+. He's been A+ all year. He's 35 wins in 58 games. 2 concussion injuries kind of hurt his season, but he is the MVP of the Penguins this year, easily. That's what I got.
All right.
Go see the rest on Facebook.
Yep, we'll have all our reports and comments on there. All right, let's get into our second team, ISO, Los Angeles Kings. Well, it's hard to predict where the Kings will end up at the end of the season because they always have a pretty good season or an average season. I think last year they just missed the playoffs, though.
Yes, they did.
So it's very odd. Yeah. It's hard to tell.
But the way they went into the playoffs, last year at the end of the season, they coasted, and then now we got to start playing to make it to the playoffs. Yeah. They do it every year. They just coast for a little while and think they don't need to play the full 82 games. This year they learned their lesson that you can't just coast halfway through the year.
Yeah, and that's what they pretty much do every season.
Yeah, and then they come as an 8th seed and win the frickin' cup. So.
Yeah, that year, and then the other year they did as well in the mid.
Yeah.
And again, I had him in that second or third or even wild card spot. I had a feeling, obviously, you're going to think Kings are going to make the playoffs somehow. Doesn't matter where they are. And then try to prove themselves in the playoffs. Very surprised. 2-0 San Jose Sharks so far in that series, though.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that I picked the Sharks. So.
But, yeah. I'm expecting them to win the first round and maybe lose to the Ducks. But... we'll see. We've heard this story before with the Kings coming back down from 3 games.
Yeah.
So, you never know. They could turn around on any time. They've got a lot of depth. So, if you think the Sharks are going to win the series, how many games will the Kings now win? None? Because they're going to San Jose now.
Yeah, I think this is a away team series. The away team does better. Home team, not so much. Sharks are a good road team. So I think the Kings will steal one back in the Sharks arena. So I think it might be a 5-game now that they've won 2.
Yeah.
I think it might just go 5 now.
I still think for sure it'll go at least 6. But yeah, with the Sharks with 2-game lead going home, it looks tough for the Kings right now.
You know who's really stood out this year? Jake Muzzin. He's definitely stepped up big time. For a guy that got drafted and then redrafted and then unsigned.
He's been pretty good, even, both cups, right?
Yeah.
So, he's been there.
Yeah, and he's...
His numbers that much better this year?
I wouldn't say his numbers are that much better, but he's playing that much more.
More ice time. Yeah, he was more of that 5'6" type guy with some offensive punch.
And now he's Doughty's partner, so...
Yeah, so... Yeah.
And that's good for him, because Doughty can... jump up the ice and he can just sit back. And he plays the power play. They use him a lot now, way more than I thought they ever would when they signed him to begin with. So,
but what's going on with this roster right now? We can go on right now in this series. Nobody's really showing up.
No,
Kopitar, Carter, Toffoli is the next part of the core. I haven't even seen him do much in this series yet. Doughty's not playing that well so far.
No, he made that unreal save for Quick. But
everybody's making butt saves in this series, apparently.
Yeah, there's so many screenshots that Quick just sprawled out, and there's 4 Kings in his net.
And he's way out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Quick's doing.
He's way overzealous.
I think Martinez looks like he's injured now.
Yeah, I think so.
And then what happened to Dustin Brown? Is his career almost over now? I don't know what's going on right now with him.
He was in the trade market for a while, being the captain. These captains get traded a lot. I was surprised they didn't trade him, but I think he's making a lot of money too.
Yeah, he has a bit of a cap hit. I was never a fan of him because I find him to be a little dirty, sneaky dirty more. And for some reason he never gets suspended, even though he's had some really dirty hits. But he is, because he's one of those sneaky dirty guys that can still put up points, he is the heart and soul pretty much of this team. He's their center, their captain.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for the Kings. This is one of the guys that really needs to wake up if they want to win this series.
Yeah.
It's Dustin Brown. They need him. Wake up, Brown, wherever you are. All right, Paul, you got one or two prospects for us?
Yeah, just two quick ones. They just signed Spencer Watson to an entry-level contract. Played for the Kingston Frontenacs this year. They were a Memorial Cup favorite, and they got bounced by Niagara Ice Dogs. But go into more of the CHL talk next episode. But yeah, Spencer Watson, he's a 7th-round pick, so deep draft there, 2014. And the other guy he's going to be an NHL dynamite player, Adrian Kempe. He's a Swedish guy. He is a left winger, but I think he can play center too. But he's had a really good World Juniors past couple years. He's first round 29th pick in 2014. So he should be on the team next year, definitely.
All right. Check out for those guys. Maybe next year. Can't be. And we'll have some more Team ISOs. The last two. Next episode. The Dallas Stars and the Washington Capitals to finish it off.
So close
and again,
to being done.
Go to Jablem Hockey. We've also isolated our Team ISOs on our website. You can just listen to the Team ISOs if you want to, if you go to our website. All right, let's get into playoff roundup now. Favorite series so far? I'll go first. I have to go with this Tampa Bay-Detroit series. I did not see this series being an amazing one, and that's the main thing. It is amazing. It is intense. I know Tampa Bay is leading, and they're leading the play as well, but it's very physically demanding. They're flying, especially the Detroit kids. They're playing a little too hard, I would think.
Yeah.
They're flying, they're pushing too hard, and that's putting themselves a little bit out of the play, but it's making the games way more exciting. Abdelkader is nutso.
Oh, yeah.
The scrums, the fights, everything he's doing. It's entertaining, that's for sure. Tampa Bay, again, the way they're playing right now without those guys. Stralman, though, maybe he'll come back if they win this series. But Tampa Bay's playing great. Detroit's... I feel bad because Datsuk and Zetterberg are getting a little older, though.
Yeah, Datsuk just lost a tooth, man. Like,
and you see,
poor guy.
His BFF went and picked it up for him.
Yeah, little Hank Z went and found his tooth for him.
I hope Mrazek plays better than Howard has in the first two games. But man, this series is really intense. I really like it. It's really
I think I gave it the Jablam jinx when I said that it was going to be the worst series to watch.
Yeah, and it's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite?
San Jose, Los Angeles. Just even though it's a 2-0 series, lots of hard hitting. It's not too dirty. Like they're right on the edge of being dirty hits.
Well, if Dustin Brown woke up, maybe there would be.
There's a lot of storylines. What I haven't heard at all, Martin Jones playing against his old team.
Yeah.
Like, there hasn't
Nobody's
been
talking
any
about
talk.
that.
There hasn't been any articles, nothing.
Yeah, weird.
Do you remember when he got traded? Lombardi said that he got a promise from Boston's Don Sweeney to not trade him back to the West. And then he went and traded him back to the West, back to the Pacific Division, back to almost the same city.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy that Jones now gets to go up against his old team and his protege, Jonathan Quick, that he learned from.
Yep.
Other good storylines, Doughty versus Burns, 2 Norris nominees, probably.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Burns is playing well. Doughty not so much.
Yeah, 2 veterans, Thornton and LeCavalier. LeCavalier's pretty much the only one scoring right now for the Kings. So
yeah,
that's exciting to see those 2 old guys still go at it. And then 2 younger guys, Kopitar and Pavelski. They are their main pivots of the league now.
Yeah.
So that's enjoyable to watch. So I really like all the storylines that are going on right now in that series.
It is as well very entertaining to watch.
And it's West Coast hockey. I stay up late, so I like to watch the late games.
Yep. Your most surprising team so far?
Tampa Bay Lightning. I did not think they were going to come out and play like this. I think the Red Wings are making them look better than what they actually are. Mm-hmm. But their first line is just dynamite. They put Killorn with Kucherov and Johnson, and they put Palat with Drouin. So Palat and Drouin are playing well together. They finding early chemistry. So and they're showing that their last year was not a fluke. That they are a playoff team.
Yeah, like I said, if Stamkos didn't get injured, Tampa Bay would have been one of my favorites to go all the way.
Which I think we put too much stock in when he did get put out, and the Strawman injury kind of put that over the edge as well. But Ben Bishop is doing Ben Bishop things. He's playing unreal right now. Yeah.
He's playing great.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about surprising team, but I'm just going to go into it. My surprising player, one of them is Kucherov. I did not think he had this beautiful snipe show wrist shot.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think in one play, he hit the post twice.
That's ridiculous.
He is a master.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking real good. He's definitely got the spotlight on him with Stamkos being gone, and maybe this is showing the Lightning that they don't need Stamkos.
Yep, showing a few teams that don't need Stamkos. They are playing very well without him. The Leafs rebuild is going fine. Why mess it up?
Yeah,
by putting a $10 million cap hit on that, especially now that you've given some of those dollars to Kadri.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we'll see where Stamkos ends up next year. All right, my favorite surprising team right now is the New York Islanders. They were playing like crap.
Yeah. The
last month, 2 months.
I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs.
You didn't think they were going to make I had them going to the playoffs, but even if Halak was in the lineup, I wouldn't expect them to win a round. They've really stepped up their game again in the playoffs. They almost beat the Capitals last year.
Yeah.
7 games. A lot of people are like, the Capitals haven't won a round. They have a good, hard-working core on this team.
Yeah.
It sucks that they might lose Okposo, but Tavares is a good leader.
Oh, he's so clutch.
They've got a great team. Hamonic on the back end, again, you don't want to lose this kid, but, Leddy and Boychuk, some good guys on the back end as well. When they work hard, they can almost beat anybody.
Yeah.
They could upset a few teams. And it looks like they might upset the Panthers the way they're playing right now. Panthers, not much experience, and this is why I had a question mark with the Panthers. I like them. I told you at the beginning of the season, I liked Reilly Smith. I liked Vincent Trocheck. The coach named him MVP again, remember, a few weeks ago, but he's injured right now. They've got a good young core of the Panthers, but maybe this isn't the year. Like I said, I think they're 2 years away from being a good team. Surprisingly, they've done this well, but again, Islanders could win this round.
Yeah, and that would be a huge upset. I have not seen anybody's brackets with the Islanders winning. Everybody's been picking Florida.
Shout out to Ben Ennis. Apparently, he tweeted me. He got the Islanders going.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's what he said.
Ennis. My surprising player is from the Panthers, Reilly Smith. Having a great series so far. 3 goals in 2 games. He's leading the league right now, tied with Hornqvist and Kucherov. But he was traded at the deadline for Jimmy Hayes.
I know.
And Mark Savard's contract.
Yeah.
Went to the Florida Panthers. Boston made this trade basically to give themselves cap space.
Because they know Reilly Smith's going to make even more money.
Yeah, and they signed Matt Bolesky the offseason before the trade, so they basically took Bolesky over Smith, and I think that was a bad move. So
they like to play more physical. Reilly Smith isn't as physical as Bolesky.
Yeah.
So,
but Reilly Smith is having a great series so far.
And connecting to Smith, I've really liked Bukestad's game.
Yeah.
He's fit really well with Reilly Smith right now. And the other guys aren't doing much. Barkov and Huberdeau and Yager,
Yeah.
It's more physical, demanding games, so it's going to hurt an older guy like Yager. He needs a little more support from, Sasha Barkov and Hubertro. But this second line is doing really well, and Bukestad has really taken his game to the next level. They expected him to be that first, second line center. Hasn't played that well this year, but in the playoffs, in those first 2 games, he's played pretty well.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. That's what we have for this episode.
That's all we got.
That's it. Next episode, like I said, we're going to team ISO the Stars and the Capitals. We got more playoffs, round-ups, and matchups. We will do a compare, either a team or a player. We're not too sure who we're going to do. We were thinking about doing... it was hilarious. We wanted to do Neil and Kessler this episode, but we both hate Neil so much. They're like, nobody wants to go for Neil.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to help promote how good this guy is, kind of thing. We don't like how dirty he is, so we didn't want to do that. And again, we're not really doing Saturday's picks anymore. We did our picks for the whole playoffs, our brackets, and our first round ones are on jablamhockey.com. Go check them out. Our first round picks are on there. You can see who we picked. We talk about them in the podcast, but you can see it right on our website. And again, we also have the Jablam Junior Hockey Playoff Update. So check that out next episode. See you then.
Bye.